Hello again. I'm Mike Banja, and I wrote a book of 365 ska-based transcriptions, and this is another thinly veiled attempt at getting you to buy one, so that I can get them out of my bedroom and into yours. If anybody has some good advice on shipping these from the U.S. to Mexico and the U.K., or of a reliable print on demand, um, please let me know. That would be wonderful. Anyhow, get your bass out. Play with me. This one is awesome. It's medium difficulty, and it'll certainly make you a better bass player. And one of the common themes that I kept coming across when I was putting this book together was forum threads of bass players, mostly from the rock idiom, um, but wanting to learn how to construct great walking bass lines. This is also a question that I love asking great players when I get an opportunity to meet them and talk bass with them. Um, and the answer is almost always the same. You either study jazz, uh, walking line creation, or they tend to stick to really simple patterns that they have discovered worked for them in the past. Usually pentatonic patterns. Um, the vast majority of folks that I've studied have put the time into line creation and basic jazz walking. That's not saying that you have to. You can immerse yourself in ska bass throughout all four generations, and you'll see these patterns and be able to readily apply them. So, the bassist on this, 51 Gardner, by Big D and the Kids Table, is Steve Foote. And the band was mostly a collection, from what I understand, of early to mid 90s Berkeley College of Music kids. Foote's a fantastic bass player and gives us a perfect lesson in this tune in walking between two chords. Now, I've got my theory that while he was at Berkeley, he took a class from either Bruce Gertz or Jim Stinnett. And he used a book called Creating Jazz Basslines, which is the picture here. You can get that from the Stinnett Music Bookstore. Two N's, two T's, well, three T's, but and this book is fantastic for teaching someone who has absolutely no real interest in playing jazz, maybe, but teaching someone who's new to the jazz idiom how to create a walking line to get you from point A to point B. So back to Steve Foote. I haven't talked to him. That's unconfirmed, whether he used this book or not, but it's a great resource. Now, you can look up all the information on Steve Foote, his discography. I think now he works at a recording studio, and I'm sure if you went there, he'd make you sound great. But get your bass out and let's learn this line and learn a little bit about walking construction. Again, we're talking about getting from D to G and then back to D. This is an 8-bar phrase that repeats in the verse, and it opens up the gate for him to use a lot of very iconic, classic jazz walking. So, to make the line interesting, you can see how he varies all of the patterns and some of the techniques that he uses. And this is the big difference between someone who just plays a very simple repetitive line in one place that everybody's happy with, but it's not exciting. It's not anything that other bass players would find interesting, or it doesn't do service to all the practice that you put in. So, two ways that I've heard people explain the idea of jazz walking is that you're creating a little melody in 4 beats, in quarter notes, with a predetermined destination. Another one is that we could just pencil in the root of each chord in each bar and then figure out the connecting notes to get us from there to there. We could play in arpeggios, root, third, fifth, octave. But if you don't know your basic arpeggios and you don't know where all the notes of the bass are, then you're going to struggle. And remember that bass lessons, I mean, they cost the same as dinner for a couple people at a restaurant. So make grilled cheese and soup and use the money to make yourself a better bass player. Anyhow, got a great walking line, D to G, and anytime that you're ever presented with that 1 to 4 major chord movement, you can use any of these 2-bar phrases that Foote plays in this line, and it'll work perfectly. Everybody will be happy, people are dancing, your parents are proud of you, the dog scoots its butt on the floor, etc. All right, so it starts with an open D string, and you'll see why in a second. D, F sharp, D on the 5th fret of the A string, and A on the 5th fret of the E string. In scale degrees, this is the root, 3rd, root, and then 5th below. And that sets up perfectly to shift down to the low G using the middle finger, which is the 4 chord. D is the key of the song, and G is the 4 chord. And we call it that because it's the 4th note in the scale of D major. The shifts are vital in this bass line. If you don't start in the correct finger pattern, you'll sound sloppy, disconnected, and the first bar lands us down to the G. So I played open string, 4th fret, 5th fret, 5th fret, and then slid down to connect with the G on the middle finger. The second bar is walking up G, B, C, C sharp. So the frets, I start with my middle finger, 3rd fret of the E string, then index finger on the 2nd fret of the A string for the B, middle finger for the C, and you can use your pinky and your ring finger like an upright player would on the 4th fret. So let's put the first 2 bars together. Play them a bunch, and try and get each note to bleed into the next one. No spaces in between. It's one of the kind of construction secrets and the technique secrets. Play it again. Start to speed up a little bit. The actual tempo of the song is somewhere in 230 to 250 per quarter note beats per minute. Next 2 bars has us starting with our middle finger on the 5th fret of the A string. And that's the shift that we got to get right. So we walked up from the G, and now we're going to shift up to our middle finger on the 5th fret. And we're going to play root, 3rd, 5th, flat 5th or sharp 4, and that's going to land us at the G. So we started on our pinky finger right here on the 4th fret, and now we shift up to middle finger on the 5th fret. Try that a couple times. Yeah. And you will hear that 4-note pattern everywhere in jazz music and ska from jazz bass players. It's like the French fries of jazz. You hear it absolutely everywhere. So what we're going to do is repeat the same notes now as in the second measure, but an octave higher. So we've got the, and now we're going to play B, C, C sharp, D in the fret numbers 4, 5, 6, 7. So So we're doing the same thing that we did in the second bar, except now we're doing an octave up. And we can also do it one finger per fret here because we're into the middle of the fingerboard. The frets are closer together, makes it easier. All right, so first 4 bars, let's string them all together. We'll speed it up as we go along. I'll play it once, you play it once. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, last time, take it about the tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, here's where we really get fun. We walked up from G to the C sharp, and we can start the first beat of the 5th measure on D with our pinky finger. On the 7th fret for the D. And then we're going to shift up to have our index finger on the 9th fret of the G string. So we're shifting from pinky finger 7th fret to index finger 9th fret. And then we're just going to walk up chromatically, which just means 1 half step up or down, up to the G. So 9, 10, 11, and then the first beat of the next bar is 12. Then the next bar has us starting on that 12th fret. We landed there on the 1. And what we're going to do is come down here and catch the 9th fret of the D string and walk B, C, C sharp up to the 12th fret D. So we started pinky to index. And now we've played that combination of G, B, C, C sharp, D in 3 different places on a bass. 2 different octaves. That's pretty impressive. That's the greatest key to creating non-boring walking bass lines. And one of the technical things, we really want to hang on to that pinky finger G and starting that walk up with the index finger. So. All right, so we had that nice little run where we walked up to the D. It started the previous one. And now here we are at the D on the 12th fret of the D string, the octave. And we're going to walk from D to G, going down. The frets are 12, 10, 9, and then we're going to land on the 12th fret of the A string. 12, 10, 9, 12. And we'll practice this a few times, starting on the high G at 12th fret, which sets us up for. All right, here we go. And funny, I messed up on the tablature in the book. You can see on the very last bar, I had it on the D string instead of the A string. So finding those little mistakes is good for me. I know that they're in there. I just don't know where they are. Did my best to proofread everything, but the dog would sit down on the computer or something while I was working on this, and things get moved around. But that was me. I put the tablature on the wrong line. The notes are correct. All right, so and then the last three notes, 8, 7, 6, and I can play this with my ring finger, index finger. I'm sorry, my ring finger, middle finger, and index finger. 8, 7, 6. And that sets us up for the open string at the very beginning. So all right, so let's string it all together. We'll do it 2 or 3 times, speeding up with each one. Jeff Berlin has his theory on metronomes. If you want to use one, great, that's you. I've noticed when I watch really good musicians, when they get a piece of music or they're getting a phrase, they play it out of time to allow their fingers time to adjust. Their fingers start learning it, then they start speeding it up. Metronome's good for checking exactly where you have it, but it's a test. It's not part of the practice process for me. So, whole thing. Cool. Give it a shot. All right, let's go a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's take it about tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so key takeaways. Allow the notes to bleed into each other to create walking lines in this style. Learn all the notes on the bass and where to find them. That keeps your playing from being elementary and repetitive. You can be simple and sound good, but you're not going to earn the respect of people who know what they're doing. It's not a contest. But man, when you put the time in to learn and grow, you'll love the difference. Steve Foote didn't plink around until this line came to him. Dude literally got taught all of these 2-bar phrases in private lessons and likely out of a book that's just called Creating Jazz Bass Lines. Please buy my book. Immerse yourself in this stuff. If you have a good soak in it for a year, every day, pulling out the book and practicing just 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, see what magically happens to you and your playing. But seriously, I'm tripping over these boxes. And also buy Jim's book. It'll make you a much better bass player. It is the starting over approach to line creation. Last, if you got out your bass and you actually played along, then good for you. You did something great today instead of doom scrolling for 20 minutes. So play along with the recording a bunch and play great ska bass.